The brewing conflict sparked by Donald Trump. It threatens to send shockwaves through the U.S. economy and the world's economies. The market's reacting to Donald Trump's ongoing onslaught of personal attacks and smears on Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. All three major stock indices experiencing major losses today. The Dow Jones down more than 900 points. The cause? The dangerous one-man game of chicken that Donald Trump is playing with the job of the Federal Reserve Chair, Jerome Powell.
Top economic headlines. But take a look at this. This is how the market closed today. And this was quite disappointing for investors and brokers there in New York. So the Dow fell 972 points today, or about almost 2.5%. The S&P 500 falling about 2.3%. And the NASDAQ composite fell about 2.5% as well.
And the egg prices are down 87%. But nobody talks about that. You can have all the eggs you want. We have too many eggs. In fact, if anything, the prices are getting too low.
I'm sorry, what? The price of eggs is too low? No.
I don't know that I'd call any of these too cheap. Also, not for nothing, but there's this sign as well. I have a feeling he has no idea how much eggs cost and whether or not they're cheap or expensive, because it doesn't affect his life.
Stock market tumbles 1,000 points April 21st, and it is only 12:25 Eastern Standard Time. Why has the stock market tumbled over 1,000 points so early on Monday trading day? I have one word for you: Donald J. Trump. Trump is attacking Federal Chairman Jerome Powell. He wants him to quit. He wants him to raise interest rate. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, lowering interest rates is not going to fix what Donald J. Trump has done. In fact, it will completely do the opposite. If Jerome Powell is fired or goes through any of these legal shenanigans of what is going on, we will be heading for a complete stock market crash. This is the only thing that keeps the stock market safe. Lowering an interest rate half a point when you have 50%, 100% tariffs on other countries is shifting the blame. And again, it is not fixing a problem. And again, it will be causing a problem. Now, Jerome Powell is separate, and he is not hired by Trump.
The stock market is selling off sharply today. It's down about 3% to start the week. Trump turned to Twitter to attack Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve. Now, here's the thing. The Federal Reserve is an independent agency, and the Supreme Court has already ruled that the President of the United States cannot fire anybody from an independent agency. Nonetheless, that doesn't stop Trump from anything effectively. Because of this, we have seen the stock market selling off sharply. The dollar has sold off, breaking through key support levels. Gold has surged, and we're also seeing bond yields moving much higher. But this isn't all. Tomorrow we get Tesla reporting earnings, and the market is starting to sell off Tesla stock because they believe that the earnings report are going to be a bit low. Given that, there's a lot going on with the stock market today, likely throughout the rest of the week. We could see some stability in the stock market after this comment has rocked the markets as much as it is. But it's Tesla that's next. Make certain to follow along. You're going to want to check out my latest Substack newsletter because I'm breaking down how gold is being affected by all this, how the dollar is being affected by this, and why interest rates continue to drive higher.
So while that walking clogged artery that some of you happen to call president is out golfing all the time at the taxpayer's expense, the economy is crashing. The Dow continues to fall. Have you checked your 401k lately? And while we're on the topic of so-called Trump economics, what about them grocery prices? Have they come down? Nah. What about those gas prices? Have they come down? Nah. What about those egg prices? How are they doing? Yep, still on the rise. Everything that this man does is a giant fraud, It's all a lie. It's all a scam. He gets on national TV and talks about how all the prices are coming down on a continuous basis, but yet we all go to the grocery store. We all have to buy gas every single day. We all know and we all can see that these prices are not coming down. They are still high. How's that war in Ukraine going, Mr. President? Ah, yeah, over on day one, right? I don't think so. Now they're talking about walking away from the whole thing completely. Why? Because the Trump administration is completely incompetent. We have Pete Hegseth, who's on his way out probably by the end of the week. He will be fired and replaced with some other moron who's incapable of doing the job, who's not qualified, because that's Trump's MO. Like I said quite a long time ago in a previous video, Trump surrounds himself with people that he knows are disposable. They are yes men, and when all of his plans fail, he kicks them to the curb. Look at Rudy Giuliani, Michael Cohen. Look at all these people that surrounded themselves and embedded themselves with the Trump administration the first time. What happened to them? Where are they now? They're in the same place that Marco Rubio and the likes are all going to find themselves in. But for some goddamn reason, these Republicans can't ever learn the lesson. So history will repeat itself again. And the unredeemable blob will blame everybody but himself. He will continue to blame Biden. He will continue to blame everybody that he has working for him. He never takes responsibility. But yet MAGA eats it up because they are unable to see that they are in a cult.
Here's the rundown of what's going on in our country right now. And I want to talk about the three major battles that Trump is facing and is likely to lose. And the first one is against China, the trade war with China. He was not expecting them to fight on the way they are. He expected them to fold and back down and just agree to his demands. And they have done the exact opposite. And it's going to hurt this country deeply. We have not even began to feel the real effects of this yet. We will feel it in the next few months and into the fall. And if it does not stop, it's just going to get really, really painful. Then there's this fight with Harvard. He had already done it with other universities and got them to cave in their DEI policies. Restrict masking protests at campuses. Because of this, he thought Harvard would just fold and cave like everyone else had. And they held strong and gave him a big middle finger. And then it's turned into this complete disaster now, where he's now blaming the university for not being proactive in calling him and his attorneys when they received his demand letter, because his demand letter, he's saying now, was so ridiculous and sent prematurely that they should have known better. Like, how ridiculous is that? He has no idea how to lead. He has no idea how he's going to get out of these without looking like a complete baffling fool. The next is the Supreme Court. He thought he had the Supreme Court in his pocket. He thought that was completely in the bag. And now he's learning that they are not. And that they are standing by their principles and taking their oath seriously. At least all except maybe two are. So keep an eye on Amy Coney Barrett. She's been voting with the liberals fairly often. That's important. The Supreme Court is holding up. It's literally our last line of defense against the radical actions he wants to take. And we'll see how it holds up going forward and how anything will be enforced. And Judge Boasberg has also been a great example of how the courts can stand up to this. I didn't even know they had the ability to appoint their own special counsel. So that's really important. That's an enforcement mechanism. So we'll see what happens there. But these battles are going to be very difficult for Trump.
Our felon president is hard at work signing executive orders. That's what he considers work. He signed an order banning voting machines that count barcodes or QR codes. And these machines are fast and accurate, but the felon is paranoid. He says only machines that read the actual words on ballots should be used. He doesn't even read actual words, and he wants a ballot machine that does? And that change could cost states like Georgia up to $300 million to replace equipment. Some people also worry it might hurt voters with disabilities because they often use machines with barcodes. States don't even know how they're supposed to follow the rules. The dude's like chaos agent. There's confusion about who enforces it and whether states can meet the deadline. Some believe the move could stall the election process or cause delays. That's what the felon wants to do. Here's the thing. States need to tell the felon to F off. Do not comply. The felon is a paranoid that needs to be taken down and put away. Changing how we vote sounds simple, but it's expensive, confusing, and could slow elections way down, especially without clear instructions. Plus, it's all a ruse to give the maggots more of an advantage. Screw that pile of orange horse shit. It's like replacing all of your forks because one person said spoons are suspicious.
I've never seen anything like this. In less than 3 weeks, 3 former U.S. presidents, Obama, Biden, and Clinton, have all come out swinging against Trump. Let that sink in. Obama said, "You can't run a country like a reality show." Biden, he accused Trump of intentionally causing pain by slashing Social Security. And Clinton warned, "If we keep trying to dominate the people we disagree with, we'll destroy 250 years of democracy." And Trump's response? They're just jealous. Really? Americans are struggling. Social services are collapsing. Our democracy feels like it's on life support. And this man still thinks it's all about him? Remember, this is the guy who said he'd make America great again. But now, 3 presidents are basically staging an intervention. 1 critic? Maybe it's politics. 2? That's pressure. 3? That's a warning. So I have to ask, are we okay with a leader who treats the White House like a reality show set? Have we lowered the bar so far? That chaos now feels normal? Let me know what you think, because I think America deserves better.
Hey, what's up, America? Donald Trump, and will he succeed? So do I think Donald Trump will succeed? Meaning, do I think Donald Trump will stop DEI and will fix the economy and lower prices and make it so Americans have more money and freedom? Yes, if, and no, if. So no, if Democrats and federal judges keep stepping in the way, trying to destroy the American dream. Yes, if Donald Trump is allowed to get interest rates lowered and we're allowed to get massive trade deals and remove diversity, equity, and inclusion and go back to common sense politics. So as long as you have nefarious liberal forces trying to torpedo Donald Trump, you'll never get the full effect that you need. Most of that comes from activist liberal federal judges, and those individuals generally need to be impeached because they're not a balanced check on power. That's the Supreme Court's job. No, these individuals are towing a globalist party line or a progressive party line purposely to stick it up Trump's ass and his followers, which is a majority of the population, but they don't want to admit that because Orange Man bad. So we need to allow Donald Trump to do his job, basically. So do I think Donald Trump will succeed? Overall, yes. It'll be a little bit of pain, followed by years of awesome.
Donald Trump is now threatening nations, saying that if you do not do deals with them and go against China, then he will increase tariffs. So then Donald Trump has said, if you put China in the back and put US first, we will remove tariffs. China has then come out saying this will not bring peace, and China warns nations not to fall for the US trap. As it's very obvious, the US is trying to divide the world between them and China. It's quite obvious that China just wants to go back to a normal trade deal with every nation. However, the US is not allowing it. There are no de-escalations happening anytime soon. What do you guys think the next step will be?
I understand that the only way to fight back against a president who's been given total immunity by the Supreme Court is to find everyone else around him in contempt of court, like the lawyers and the people who fly the planes to El Salvador. But what I don't understand is how that's going to stop specifically Donald Trump from doing anything else unconstitutional or against the law. Because I know 2 things to be true. Number 1, Donald Trump doesn't give a about anybody, and he will step over anyone and hurt anyone, ruin anyone's life to get what he wants. Second thing is that his sycophants, his followers, the people who've signed up to do his bidding, will do literally anything, including ruin their own life, to make sure that Donald Trump remains in power and doesn't see any consequences for his actions.